Hello, my name is Sebastian Lavie. I'm product manager at Presagius. I'd like to thank you for taking the time to be here, and I'm happy to be presenting an overview of M&S Suite 17. In the next 40 minutes or so, I will give you a high-level overview, product by product, of all the new features that make part of this release. Version 17 has gone through a lot of thought and analysis, not to mention work, and we're very proud of the results. Make it real. It's more than a slogan. It's what drives our company, our people, and our products. We followed this principle when planning the Suite 17 roadmap. Not only did we build our suite of tools to provide for all of our users' simulation and training needs, hopefully, but we build it according to how they work. So by understanding workflows, dependencies, limitations, we are constantly striving to provide tools and enhancements and features that benefit our users day in and day out. Perhaps one of the most important aspects of M&S Suite 17 is how it's growing. In addition to the usual complement of software updates and enhancements, this year we've added 3 brand new products to the suite. Ondulus NVG is the latest addition to the Ondulus family. NVG lets customers use a highly configurable night vision goggles sensor simulator, complete with support of active illumination and sensor effects. TERRA VISTA Builder is meant for those who build projects. We've created a very cost-effective version of TERRA VISTA that is dedicated to building projects, freeing up your main TERRA VISTA workstation. And finally, Ondulus Radar Pro. This offering of Ondulus Radar groups all of our radar modes, including 4 new ones I will describe later, into a single competitive package. Even though each product has new features and enhancements, I would like to point out some of the suite-wide improvements we have made with this release. The development teams have developed many suite-wide enhancements based on feedback directly from you, our users. And this is why we put a lot of focus on user workflow and made hundreds of changes to parameters, options, and interfaces to help you work more logically, with more flexibility, and gain more access to the tools you need. I will describe more of these as we go through every product. Another improvement that touches every product in the suite is the support for Visual Studio 2015, also known as VC14. Users now have the ability, if they choose, to compile the products in VC14. And finally, we're bringing to market a brand new 3D model library. 3D Models Library. We have invested heavily into giving our users over 1,000 3D models for use all across the suite. You can see a few listed here on screen. Buildings and vehicles, animals and weapons, characters, and environmental elements are just some of the high-quality models that you will find. Sea, air, and ground domains are each well represented, along with military vehicles from over 40 countries and organizations. And for those of you wondering if they can be used with sensors, the answer is yes. All of the 3D models in the library are fully materialized and are ready to be used in our Ondulus sensors, whether it be Ondulus Infrared, Radar, or NVG. Ondulus NVG. We are proud to introduce to you our new product in the Ondulus family, Ondulus NVG. NVG stands for Night Vision Goggles. Leveraging our expertise in sensor simulation, our goal was to create a cost-effective solution for night vision goggles that is highly configurable and adaptable to your needs. It runs in real time, and like all other members of the Ondulus family, the simulation is physics-based. And using physics-based rendering, Ondulus NVG recalculates the scene lighting in real time using both available light and material information in the scene. It enables richer and immersive training environments when decision-making for recognition and identification is required. Ondulus NVG comes with the following standard feature set: naked eyes and NVG views, active and passive illumination, multiple sensor effects, fully configurable simulation sensor models, all controllable at runtime, and with extensive debugging tools. In addition, One important aspect of NVG that sets it apart is its capacity to accurately simulate specular highlights such as the one displayed on the hood in the far right image. As well, Ondulus NVG supports both passive and active lighting. You see here 3 simulated images representing 3 views of the same night scene with fog coverage. You can see the visual limitations of naked eye compared to NVG or NVG with active illumination. It's worth mentioning that we can control in real time the indirect active illumination source, which can only be seen in the NVG bandwidth, while taking into account environmental effects such as fog and many additional parameters which can also be controlled during runtime. And in terms of settings and effects, you can customize Ondulus NVG to get your sensor simulation as close as your targeted platform. And here are some key parameters available out of the box which can be calibrated: light amplification, NVG color, and digital zoom. Effects supported include noise, light blooming, vignetting, black spots, just to name a few. Now on to Ondulus Radar. With Ondulus Radar 17, we've improved the overall performance of the simulation engine and addressed several important requests from our users. We've also added 4 new radar modes. The new radar modes are Trackwall Scan, or TWS, Ground Moving Target Indicator, or GMTI, Doppler Beam Sharpening, or DBS, and Single Target Tracking, or STT. And I'll get to every one of those individually. Trackwall Scan, or TWS. TWS is suitable for tracking multiple targets and combines search and track functions. Unlike the straight tracking mode, this radar mode allocates part of its power to tracking the target or targets, while part of its power is allocating to scanning. In a TWS mode, the radar has the possibility to acquire additional targets, as well as providing an overall view of the airspace and helping maintain better situation awareness. Ground Moving Target Indicator, or GMTI. GMTI is a radar mode that provides continuous wide area surveillance coverage of ground-moving vehicles. Thousands of vehicles can be detected and tracked with each sweep of the radar. GMTI radars can be a source of significant tactical theater data and even strategic intelligence. Doppler Beam Sharpening, or DBS. The Doppler Beam Sharpening, or DBS radar mode, is a coherent ground map mode which provides higher azimuth resolution by processing the radar return signal phase to exploit the Doppler dependency on azimuth angle. This mode is especially useful when attempting to define land and water boundaries as well as landmark identification. Single Target Tracking, or STT. The final radar mode is Single Target Tracking, or STT. As the name suggests, this mode continuously tracks a single target at a high data rate. Ondulus Radar Pro. As I mentioned at the beginning of my presentation, one of our new offerings in the M&S Suite 17 is Ondulus Radar Pro. The Pro version bundles all 8 radar modes in a single package. These are RBGM, or WRX, or weather, MTI, SAR, spot SAR, ISAR, and DBS, GMTI, STT, and TWS that I just described. Now on to Ondulus IR. In Ondulus IR, we have improved the overall performance of the simulation engine and addressed several important customer requests. But we also have introduced 2 new physics-based IR sensor types. But before I get into that, let me tell you about the collaboration that we've developed with INO. INO is short for Institut National d'Optique, or the National Optics Institute based in Quebec City, Canada. We're extremely proud of our work with them. In a collaborative effort, INO has validated the Ondulus IR sensor model through a series of rigorous testing and concluded that the Ondulus IR 17 physics-based sensor modeling engine performed accurately. What this means is that independent experts are saying that our physics-based IR simulation is accurate. So about that new sensor model. In Ondulus IR, we have added a new sensor model based on physics for photon and thermal types. Ondulus IR global modeling processes is staged and decoupled in a way to provide you a focused approach to take advantage of key factors such as atmospheric conditions and radiation transfer, emitted radiation from objects, seen surface temperature, multispectral radiation propagation, and object materials in CDB database. This new sensor model addition provides the ability to mimic publicly available specification platforms of IR manufacturers. For examples, parameters like blurring, NEP, NETD, dark current, cooled and uncooled detectors, adjust temperature range, and non-uniformity effects. And with this new release, we now have the ability to simulate photovoltaic, photoconductive, bolometer, thermocouple thermal pile, and pyroelectric sensors. And before concluding with Ondulus IR 17, I thought it might be of interest to visualize the extensibility and openness of this new sensor data workflow. What you see here is just a portion of the IR sensor, the sensor system. You can see that little arrow pointing to the sensor system on the right lower hand side of your screen. You see here that two data paths on the left, photon detection and thermal detection. And also you see all the blue circles that are parameters that you can adjust. On to TERRA VISTA. If I had to pick one product that received a lot of love in its release, TERRA VISTA is it. There's a lot to go through, so I will do a quick overview of the main features and enhancements. Smart crosswalks and stop lines. Smart crosswalks and stop lines can now be placed in a quick and intuitive manner. TERRA VISTA will automatically use road networks attributions such as number of lanes and direction of traffic to calculate where these features are placed and how they should appear. We've also enhanced wizard building with smarter natural building placements with regards to roads, adjustable texture mapping based on road and building placement, additional control over front or side of buildings with repetitive textures, and building optimizations to remove unnecessary points. The geolocalized OpenFlight importer now provides the capacity to import any OpenFlight model. For example, when importing an airport model into a TERRA VISTA project, its vectors will conform to the terrain model, whether perfectly flat, on a curved earth, or any non-flat type of terrain. A series of workflow improvements were also added to TERRA VISTA in response to users' requests. These include the vector editor attribute editor has been revamped and streamlined in order to give users better visual feedback and improve stability. And for those working with OTF, the split linear tools gives users the ability to create a junction with two intersecting linears. The Advanced Procedural Terrain, or APT rules, now have additional help. Output options such as compressed light maps and buttons that will help the overall workflow. In addition, APT rules now handle different LOD levels in a more accurate way when it comes to texturing slopes and hills. And finally, roads. We took a lot of time to improve complex intersections so that TERRA VISTA handles them better. We've also improved the interaction with sidewalks, medians, and standard intersections, and have added support for CDB FSC codes. As with every other release of TERRA VISTA 17 also features numerous bug fixes and enhancements to our supported output compilers. In particular, FBX, VBS, OTF, JCATS, and CDB have all seen a lot of work. One of the major highlights of this release is the new distributed build architecture. TERRA VISTA has seen a significant amount of work go into the development of this new distributed build architecture, and we're very proud. For those of you using MMB, multi-machine build, you will appreciate the improved performance, flexibility, and robustness. Essentially, with this release, the core building infrastructure of MMB has been rebuilt from the ground up with up-to-date, cloud-ready, service-oriented architecture. Now, the benefits are multiple. It's now much more robust and flexible. It's easier to deploy on your network. You can dynamically assign and unassign computing nodes, aka workstations, to a build without stopping the build. You have now the ability to parallelize, finalize, merge processes when working in CDB. And finally, a RESTful API interface gives you all the flexibility you need to extend its functionality. And with more dynamic building management tools, setting up a distributed build is now simpler due to its new browser interface, as well as scriptable and automated installs. Hopefully, you will experience significant improvements in build times thanks to the parallelization of the finalize merge process. Now, we know that when building large-scale projects, using multiple machines to process tasks is both efficient and time-saving. And this is why we're introducing TERRA VISTA Builder. It's the new member of the TERRA VISTA family that is dedicated for building projects. It's a cost-effective option that lets you build simultaneous projects at once while freeing up your main TERRA VISTA authoring machine. It enables builds that are independent from your main TERRA VISTA application, letting you build a project while you edit or build another. You can make use of additional computing resources, even on another network, to help build, manage, allocate, and validate in the building process. And finally, it enables easy and automated deployment. So how does it compare to other flavors of TERRA VISTA? Well, TERRA VISTA Builder is designed for project building and thus has no editing capabilities. But it enables you to launch project builds independent from your main TERRA VISTA client. And TERRA VISTA Builder comes with 16 backends in addition to the ones you may already have. And you can purchase additional backends as you need them based on your available resources. TERRA VISTA Builder can build any projects created by any flavor of TERRA VISTA, whether it's the Base, Pro, or Dart. And a new web tool is included for build monitoring and simplified deployment model. On to Creator. The new features in Creator 17 had two specific goals. One is to give users more editing, creation, and exporting tools. And secondly, to give power users extended development capabilities. So let's go through the main features. FBX output. Whereas in the last release we brought you FBX import to Creator, this year we're introducing FBX export. Like many of the additions in Creator, we sought to help content creators have more flexibility so they can move back and forth between several third-party applications. Now, we understand that content creators use many different tools, and by providing an FBX output feature, we are ensuring that Creator is responding to their workflow and interoperability needs. Now, whether you want to use FBX in 3ds Max or Maya for editing, or use it to push content to game engines such as the Unreal Engine or Unity, Creator is now ready to support those workflows. Filleting. This new tool in the Face toolbox creates a set of triangles forming the shape of a fillet or fan, as you can see on screen. It's very useful for adding rounded edges and eliminating sharp angles. This can give more leeway on runways in case an airplane is not going to make the perfect 90-degree angle turn. Although mostly used for taxiways and turns in roads, it can also be used for the generation of roads or paths where a shoulder is needed. Creator recognizes where the curve begins and ends and smooths it out. Users can also control how many triangles are created to form the fillet, as well as the direction and curvature. Join Edges. Join Edges is a new tool in the Geometry toolbox that allows content creators to connect two or more edges with a curved strip or Bezier curve. This is useful to make junctions at roads or taxiway intersections and junctions, or to connect two previously separated road sections as shown here. And you can set the tessellation, subdivisions, and curvature so that ends are connected in a very customized way. Construct along a path. This is another tool in a geometry toolbox that allows you to create or place different kinds of geometry along a path. This is useful to create common geometry you see around an airport, such as taxiways, lights, and models, or roadways. You can select the path for the geometry to follow, or you can enter points on the path interactively. This Construct Along a Path tool can create many different kinds of geometry, such as the road markings you can see on screen here, the fence, guardrails, posts, and power lines that you see on screen has all been created using this tool. But also pipelines, lampposts, light points, buildings, trees, and the list goes on. So it's a very powerful tool. And to complete the Creator section of my presentation, other enhancements to make modeling easier in Creator that we've added are changes to the Create Curve tool, which was vastly improved to help road and runway builders create turns and curves more easily. Also, the Strip Face tool was enhanced to enable users to trace along solid and open wire polygons. And finally, we sought to give power users more access and more capabilities in Creator 17. Firstly, new functions within the OpenFlight API allows users to extend Creator's functionality. Developers can now add custom tools and attribution to create more interactions. And secondly, we've increased the Python's built-in scripting capabilities so that users can now automate modeling tasks. Through the script editor, users can now create custom tools, functions, and scripts that let them repeat certain tasks. For example, select every other polygon and apply a texture. We've also added database importers and exporters to the Python interface. This means that non-OpenFlight formats supported by Creator can now be batched imported and exported inside the Creator modeling environment. Now on to VEGA Prime. VEGA Prime 17 is right up there with TERRA VISTA in the amount of improvements that we've added in the suite. Not only did we integrate requested enhancements from our customers, but we've also worked with third parties to ensure that users can benefit from including most visually stunning and realistic clouds and trees. Silver lining integration. Now, previously, creating realistic 3D clouds took a lot of time and artistic ability. With VEGA Prime 17, it is now a much more organic process. With the integration of silver lining, new sky and 3D clouds are accurately realistic day and night and provide smooth transitions as well as immersive movement and animation. In addition, the 3D clouds offer volumetric depth and can be flown above, beneath, or through them. By incorporating silver lining into VEGA Prime, we are giving users intuitive control over their clouds. Changing cloud patterns or defining cloud distribution is easily done. Users can create their own presets of cloud combinations for high altitude or low altitude, or presets to create storms or cloud patterns that are typical for certain geographic areas or weather conditions. And finally, our 3D clouds not only cast shadows, but can move or be animated using environment, wind, speed, and direction. Our second third-party integration is SpeedTree. Although SpeedTree has been included in VEGA Prime for some years, this version features the highest quality trees available on the market. By using SpeedTree native shaders, VEGA Prime can leverage SpeedTree effects to achieve unmatched quality and performance. The benefits include improved shadow mapping, translucency, ambient inclusion, and much more. In addition, our new shader-based LOD system yields seamless transitions through alpha and vertex blending. Integration enhancements. The level of integration we've achieved with VEGA Prime 17 is unprecedented. By fully integrating SpeedTree and Silver Lining into VEGA Prime, we've wanted to give you the best of both worlds. The full power of the third-party applications itself, plus access to all of VEGA Prime's features, such as light maps, Ondulus sensor support, and so on. So by using SpeedTree and Silver Lining native shaders, the trees and clouds are now fully part of the VEGA Prime environment. VEGA Prime Marine. In VEGA Prime Marine, we have enhanced our sea state transitions in order to improve ship motion. The multi-threading for Marine was also greatly improved. And finally, we would like to announce that VEGA Prime Marine is now included with VEGA Prime Pro. Stage. With Stage 17, we have improved the overall performance of the simulation engine and addressed several important customer requests. The most visible addition to Stage is the inclusion of 13 new platforms on which to build new scenarios, and you see them listed on screen. But these platforms include the BRDM2, Bison, FV510, M1083, and many more. We also sought to greatly improve the communication in Stage. We did this by implementing several enhancements for integration work and scenario validation. These are enhanced countermeasure launch, additional countermeasure maneuver, where a flare sample code is now available, the ability to modify damage level at runtime, and to improve validation, the wait time can be changed in async mode in real time to better control the sim time execution. Enhancements of the API for NCOM to improve inter-product communication, a new common header file format to avoid mismatches when using different protocols like HLA and SIGI, new weapons information exposed for the integrators. Finally, we've included a new complex sample scenario called Base Raid Scenario to demonstrate the new ability for Stage to deal with large numbers of entities active during a single scenario. On to FlightSIM and HeliSIM. Now, both FlightSIM and HeliSIM have seen great numbers of enhancements. Each of these can be divided into 3 enhancement categories: systems, validation, integration. Let's go over these now. Before talking about specific enhancements for FlightSIM or HeliSIM, let's go through the ones applicable to both. First, we enhanced the system functionality of the engine panel to create a specific link between pilot input and the engine. We've opened and extended the engine performance curves for all control laws. We've included a new simulation frequency parameter, which can now be stored in the model. We've opened and extended all of the EAFCS outer loops at the modeler level to allow you to create your own control laws. And finally, we've increased the number of fuel tanks from 5 to 10 to provide a more realistic simulation. For HeliSIM, we are happy to introduce a new helicopter model, the UH-60 or Blackhawk. This model comes with a flexible blade model. The existing models within HeliSIM receive many improvements as well. The AH-1, Bell 412, quad helicopters, and generic attack helicopter, CH-47, and UH-1 models have all seen improvements. In addition, we've made 2 parameters configurable. Flight states and indicated airspeed type, IAS, are both configurable in the helicopter model. For FlightSIM, the most significant enhancement is number of engines which have been increased from 4 to 8. We've also improved several of the models, including Micro UAV, MQ-1C, and the MQ-1C turboprop. To help in the validation process, we've added a few enhancements to each simulation software. We've added runtime access for pilot input. We've increased the number of user tables in order to provide more control during the validation and integration process. Another item that is in response to our user feedback is import variables that have been doubled from 2 to 4. Specific to HeliSIM, we have 2 validation enhancements. You have access to more information for each element of the blade, such as deflection, aerodynamics, and more. In order to greatly facilitate a repositioning, you can now perform an air reposition with the engines off. Lastly, we perform some integration enhancements to both products. The first of these is that we now segment exported data so that users can have better control of their data. Also, to give users more control, we open access to the repositioning API. Finally, we increased the number of control surfaces exported via the instrument system. So this concludes my presentation on everything that's new in M&S Suite 17. I really hope you're going to like this release. As I mentioned, the team has put a lot of effort into bug fixes and enhancements based on customer feedback, with a special emphasis on usability, performance, and interoperability. And our suite of tools is growing with new Ondulus NVG, Radar Pro package, and TERRA VISTA Builder. And not to forget the new 3D model library with 1,000 models. That's it. I hope you appreciated this overview. The team is very proud of the work done for this release, as I've said. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us in the address on screen or contact your sales representative. Thank you very much for your time. Have a nice day.